Hi everyone, and back with another pick a card reading. Angelina Sparkling Deva here, and this reading is going to be on what's important for you to know, do, whatever now. And yeah, I skipped a week with a reading. Last week we had 3 bad storms in a row, and then it's dark. I haven't got proper light to record a reading, but it's also the howling wind around the house. I have a semi-detached, and the wind howling around the house, and it makes me restless and unfocused and stressful because it was really bad. I've had a lot of storms here since I moved here over 9 years ago, close to the coast, and bad ones as well. But this one, the second one, Storm Eunice, was the absolute worst I've ever had. But fortunately, everything came through unscathed. So yeah, but then I'm just too restless to do a reading. Even my little kitten Neela is restless whenever there's a storm. So she's meowing all the time, and yeah. And now it's glorious weather again. The wind has finally sort of died down, and because that took a number of days, and it's sunny, it's beautiful, and now it's a really good time to do a reading. And then the subject, like what is important for you right now, it seems so like again, because people, and including me, I think, do similar themes more often. But the thing is, it is always, there's so much going on these days, right, with the ascension process and in the world, and so much is shifting and changing, and we are growing so fast these days, um, especially if you're a light worker. And so it is really handy to have updates on what should I do, what do I have to know, and all that stuff. I like that myself as well. So I chose that because I felt it was really important as well when I drew the cards for this. So anyhow, 3 choices, and we have, this is a fluorite with these lovely white feathers in it, and here it's more more transparent, a amethyst or ametrine spirit quartz, and here a clear crystal pyramid with all kinds of swirls in it. And again, I've said that before, but I always pick the crystals intuitively. And if it doesn't feel right with a set, I will not pick it. So you can go by the crystals themselves. For this time, for this reading, I didn't stick in any cards. It's just the crystals. So just really just feel which crystal calls out to you. And if you find that difficult, you can also use the timestamps. I'm not controlling timestamps either. And so you can do that too. And there in the back, there is my, there. I got the daffodils. I got these little tete-a-tete daffodils the other day to have indoors. And I thought, well, I'm going to stick them in so you can see them when I'm doing the reading. Let's go back. Well, hopefully. See if we can, yes, there we are, we got the focus back. So just feel, and then I'm going to start the reading, and I'll meet you at your at the timestamp of your choice. Right, numbers 1, your first 2 cards we have from the Mists of Avalon oracle deck, the Tor, and gosh, my eye, and Fairy. And this is telling you that it's time to go back to where you feel safe and where you feel you, to the place or the way of being that resonates with you. And that thing is or a place, that in a way is your roots. That's where you have to go back to right now. That's important. It's your foundation, where you started. And it can be 10 years ago, a year ago, it doesn't really matter. And I do not mean your place of birth. I feel it feels more like going back to basics, for instance, where or how you began your spiritual journey. Now, that's just an example. It can be different for you. I'd like to give examples to clarify. It's where you can recuperate, revive, get new ideas, or simply come back to feeling whole and to feeling you. It's your haven, the place that you can always revisit when you need to tap into your essence. It's home. And again, that can be a way of living that you just deviated from, or a spiritual practice that you had years ago. But it can also be a place. And if it is a place for you, you do not really have to visit it physically, if that's not possible. Especially in this time, it's still difficult to travel, right? You can also just look at photos or tune into it and energetically go there. For me, that place, actually, one of these places is the Toll in Glastonbury. But if it is a place and you can't travel there, you can also do it that way. And there is a certain urgency to do that at this moment in time. Is if you look at the fairy, she's giving you an open invite to go to your haven, but there is a sense of going now. It's not a time to wait. And you can tell if you just look at her face, right? It's an open invite, so you're not being forced and not being pushed. It's your choice, your decision, but she's not gonna wait like another year or whatever. It's urgent. You really have to go now. And your haven offers you a means for you to go deeper, to grow and evolve further. And like legend has it that there is an opening in the Toll, somewhere underneath the Toll. This is the Toll, right? That leads to the underworld or the other world, the fairy realm. And I will show you this. That's why I had the painting in the background. I walk over there and I will try to hold it steady. I'm not too good at that. But I painted here the mists of Avalon and separating of the mist here. I have no idea why these bubbles had to be there. They just had to be there. It's intuitive. But as you can see, I painted this opening in the Toll. And that's the entrance to the other world, the underworld, the other world, the fairy realm. You can actually go in there and just allow things to happen, see what happens. And I'm just gonna, this is deviating from the reading, I'm sorry about that, but I just have to tell you, this bubble, this one, once the painting was done, that larger bubble got activated. And I had not expected that. I had not meant for that to happen because I thought it was all about that. But then, ironically enough, this got activated and you can actually travel through there as well as through the entrance to the fairy realm in the background. But it's since that came up in the reading, the entrance to the other world, and it's not drawn on that card, I decided to just get my painting down and show you. There it is. And I painted that in 2010, so quite a number of years ago. Anyhow, back to your reading. Right, so back here and back to your reading. Um, so taking the invite from the fairy and going through that portal, through that entrance and in your haven, right? So it doesn't have to be in the tour, at the tour or whatever, of course, but it will bring you growth and deepening. It will bring you more expansion. It helps open your soul path. Think about that. That's a hell of a lot. And you may have to revisit this place more than once, but right now you have to visit it for sure. And again, that doesn't have to be the tour, it's your haven for you, right? And we have later on two more cards coming up with elves and a fairy, and that emphasize this message and the urgency as well. Even though elves are not the same as fairy, but still, right? We got three basically, but we get to that with the rest of the cards next to that. Right, next two cards. I'm not going to read what's on these cards because that's basically very general information and doesn't give any real captions of what it's about, not really. So I'm just going to, this first one, what it is about right now for you is understanding and learning that even though you work with and within systems that have been created by other people, you also add your own unique thing to the mix. And it's saying that you can create your own thing and that you do not have to adhere to the existing ways or methods. And nor should you try to be like other people who implement or live by this existing system. You are unique. That also means that you shouldn't compare ever yourself to others or think that you cannot deviate from that existing way of doing stuff, because you can, right? There is no rules or anything saying that, for instance, if you're a coach, that you should do it this way and that way only. You can do your own way. And yeah, the like coaches, again, still sticking to that example, is just an example, all right? There's a ton of coaches out there these days, and then you can let yourself get discouraged from from becoming one yourself, because there's already so many, and you can think that, or you can think that you have to follow the set route to become one, right? Like I have to do this study and then that and then that, but that's just nonsense, a false premise. You can become a coach for sure, because each one has their own unique thing to offer. And just because their personality and personal strength are different, what you got, no one else has, and vice versa, right? So you can excel as a coach by doing it your way. Even though there are a million of coaches out there already, that doesn't mean anything. And don't believe it if you're presented with a perceived glass ceiling. There is no such thing as a glass ceiling. You can do anything and be anyone. So you can use with existing systems and use them for your own benefit. Take advantage of them, right? Because you can do that as well. They're not just restrictive, if that is that even a word? Restricting. They're not just restricting, they can also offer support, and you can also benefit from that, take advantage from that, but still do your own thing. And that's important for you. So maybe you're thinking like, yeah, I don't know, that you just needed to hear this. And think broadly, right? I use the example of coaching, but it's not like everyone is a coach. It's just an example. The next card, it's also important that you learn to keep your balance regardless of the situation. And that means that you not only remain stable in situations that you can control, because that's easy, right? But you should also learn to maintain your balance, your inner balance, in situations where you have no control. And you are ready to learn that now. It's in a way about inner strength, believing in yourself, and if you've got that, you can also let go of the need to control in order to feel safe and stable. And that's a process in itself, right? Because if you do not believe in yourself, if you do not have your inner strength developed properly yet, then it's difficult to let go and to still feel safe and strong. And think of it as being like a willow. Willow will move and bend in a storm, right? And she will allow her branches and leaves to also sway very wildly, maybe even if there is a storm. And but she will stay in place, unharmed, solidly rooted in where she is and and where she basically chose to grow. And so be like the willow, and then you'll also be strong and flexible, because it's very important to be flexible. And you won't break, but you won't budge either when you shouldn't, right? And your course will not be altered if you can be like that. Because like the willow, she also stays where she is. She doesn't suddenly, because there's wind, end up, I don't know, rooting a kilometer further down the road or something. You will not just do that. And it's also important, and I'm going to stick the next card in for that, because that comes with this. Here is the Elves card that I talked about. It's also important that you are playful while you go through all this. And trying to force things is never a good way to go and to learn. And so it's again about letting go of control and just enjoying the ride. Let your inner child come out and play. And I hear, look at the stars with a childlike wonder. We don't do that very often anymore, do we? But children, I think, more easily do that. They will also lay down during the day in a meadow or a field and look at the clouds, and then, oh, I see a dragon, I see this or that in the clouds. And I think they're the same with stars. Just maybe you've got a thing with stars. I just heard that. Look at the stars. It can also help put things in perspective if you look at the stars and the vastness of if you take that in, how it's just vast. And then we are just a little pinprick in that vastness. And then it can help you feel like, why am I fussing? Why am I making such a big deal out of this? It's so meaningless in if you take into consideration the vastness of the space that we're in. In any case, the playful thing. And so even though you should take the invite of the fairy and not linger, it doesn't mean that you have to get it done tomorrow or next week, right? It's more about starting the process and taking steps in that. And the process takes as long as it takes. And the more you enjoy it, the smoother it will go. And in a way, it feels like being able to enjoy life more. is part of the goal. Enjoying life in the now, what you're doing, where you are, all the time. It feels like that's part of the goal. And also don't need to have something work out a certain way. Because that's control again, right? Because whatever it is, it might turn up or turn out in a way that you cannot fathom. And it will end up fulfilling you completely. Right? So don't fill in too many details of where you are going, what you want. Allow things to unfold more naturally. And then we're moving to the last two cards. Right, we have the Full Moon Temple and the Hidden World. Again, the Hidden Worlds, right? Like the other world, the underworld, the fairy realm. Yeah, and again, the fairy. This is the third one. Although the other one was an elf. Okay, I know. Anyhow, the Full Moon Temple is similar message to the Tor, the first one that we had, that also on the painting. But at the same time, I feel that this is representing the crowning achievement of what you have or wish to learn at this moment. So it's getting there, right? And and when you got it, it will flow out from you. You exude it, and that's the water that's running out, right? It just is so full up. You will be that full up then when you've gotten there, that it will just you will just exude it. It's just everywhere around you, and yeah, it's really beautiful. And you will also be at a higher level, like this temple is floating up, right, really high. And you move with the cycles, like the moon. And that can be the moon cycles, but also your own cycles, or discovering how your own cycles are related to the moon and planets and stars. Somehow that feels quite strong. Like I said, look at the stars just now, right, with the other card. You may find out, or maybe already know, that you are really sensitive to planetary and moon cycles and positions of planets and portal activations. Maybe you are affected by that. If so, use that knowledge to your advantage. Which can mean that if you know that it always hits you pretty badly, then rest when you know that. Don't plan activities if at all possible. But if it, on the other hand, energizes you when there is a portal activation or a certain planetary alignment or a full moon or new moon, if that energizes you and you feel that and you know that, then you can plan activities. Use that to your advantage. And by doing that, you also tune into it, and then it will go smoother. And then the last one, we have the Hidden Worlds. And with this, I again feel this star, moon, planet, portal connection because of the high light coming in and these flashes of light here. And just really open up. Make sure that you open up to these energies. Because they come in at a very, very regular basis these days, right? And a number of years ago, maybe, 6 years or 10 years ago, it was a few days a year with a portal activation or high incoming energies. But now it's almost default. It happens so often. And if you open up to these energies, they will help you and your growth and also what you came to do here this life, because they will bring you codes of wisdom and information, knowledge, even if you don't get that on a conscious level, it will still come into your system, your energy bodies and your subconscious, etc. And it will also help you to stay on the right track. And I really feel that you have quite a purpose this life, regardless of what work you do. But the way that this fairy is shining makes me feel that you are a very high vibrational light worker, and you likely have had many past lives, whether you remember these or not, and because of that you've learned a lot already, which is why you are now ready for a higher level yet again. Yeah. And it could be that you feel that you're not getting anywhere in this life as a person, as an individual, that you're not reaching anything. I still haven't manifested my dreams or whatever. But it doesn't matter. You still are learning, and I have learned a lot this life, which was necessary and still is for your soul. Bear that in mind, because that's different, right? That's different. And I also get that when you follow all this from the beginning of this reading, right? Like the going back to your haven and all that stuff, getting tuned into cycles and so on and so forth, that you will get to a deeper level than ever before. That's why you have to go back to your haven right now. The fairy are going to open a brand new door for you that will open you up to more, higher, deeper wisdom and knowledge, almost like an initiation. You are ready for it, so don't linger. I hope this all makes sense to you, that it resonates with you, and this is what I got. So thank you for watching, and I'll see you again soon. Bye. Right, numbers 2, if you choose this crystal, your first 3 cards. And these 3, I put them in because these 3 all say that you should have a very close look at your connections or connection, romantic connection, partnership. And we have Camelot, Caridman, and that one saying that, the same thing basically. And then, so take some time to think, is there a connection? Doesn't have to be a love connection, but it can be. Can also be a friendship or a colleague or a family member, whatever. It can be anything, any connection in that sense. Is there a connection that is holding you back from what you desire to do or be in life? And in a positive connection, in a good connection, a healthy connection, the positive of that connection outweighs the difficulties. That's fine then, right? If you get more out of it, good stuff, than trouble, that's okay. But if that's not the case, if the negative, the difficulties outweigh the good, well, then you may have to cut that connection loose. And there's another message, or it can be both for you, that's mostly this card saying that no one single connection or partnership can bring you everything in life. And so if that resonates more, then that is your message, but it can be that it's both, right? And many people have this tendency to expect, especially a romantic partner, to fulfill every need in their life. Well, it's just really not fair on that person, but it's also not possible, right? It's healthier, better also, and more realistic to have various people fulfill various aspects that you wish to have in your life, that you want to share, right? So then apart from a partner, for instance, you would have friends or family or colleagues or any other connection with whom you share other stuff that you cannot share so easily with your romantic partner. Nothing wrong with that. It's the other way around as well. So if you have a male partner who likes fishing for hours on end or watching football on telly for hours on end and you're really not into that, it would be horribly unfair if he demanded of you that you join him with that. Because that's just really not your thing. Then it's better if he does that alone or with a mate, right? And while you do your thing. So it works both ways in that sense. So do not expect one person, and it goes for friendships just the same, to fulfill everything. And yeah, and maybe you're not even aware that you're doing that. So that's why I'm saying that take a bit of time. Also, if you're not with a partner right now, are you like that in dating? Because then it feels very much as being needy and too demanding. It's and even energetically, people will feel that, pick up on that, and they will just like, oh, no way. Just subconsciously it works that way. Bear that in mind. But all that is not really the main message. The main message is, do you allow a connection to hold you back from what you truly desire to be or do or have in life? And then this card, Caridwen, and if I mispronounce that, please forgive me, she says that you cannot get away from that desire to be, do, have, whatever it is that for you, right? You cannot get away from that, and it will haunt you basically because you really, really want it, right? And so if you do not get it, if you do not allow that you get that by staying in a situation that's holding you back, dimming your light, and so on and so forth, it will eat away at you on the inside and it will make you unhappy. And because you then change and become unhappy, unfulfilled, etc., etc., it can then also ruin connections, right? Yeah, if you become totally, let's go to extremes here. It doesn't have to be that extreme, right? It's just, again, an example. Take it to extremes. If you become totally miserable and grumpy and bitchy because you are not fulfilled in life, you really long for something and you aren't having it because you don't allow yourself to have it, then you're also not the nicest person in the world to be with. So in that sense, it can ruin connections and relationships when you not give it to yourself, and by creating situations that it can be realized, right? And if this concerns any one person, I get this. Like, for instance, if it's a partner or a friend who's holding you back, it's and this came through intuitively. It might not be for everyone, but for some of you, it will be the case. It's not fair on him or her, as they may not even know about you feeling this way at all. So think about that too. Have you actually communicated to this person that you're not happy, that you're not fulfilled because you actually want more or want to do something, or right, so that is basically what your main message is about. Now we're moving to the next cards. On with it. The next two cards, this one and Crystal Cave with Trust. This card, fertility and creativity, that's the main subject of the card. when it comes to your creation, this thing that you really want or desire or want to do, you have to be willing to support it by taking ownership and responsibility of that. And there is something you have to create. Cavendish spoke of that too. But in order to get to that point, you have to first work through that part of the relationships and connection that came up with the first 3 cards, right? You have to go through that first, and then you can then you get to this point where you have to want to create. And it feels to me that you have to stand up and do whatever it is you desire to do or be. And by doing that, by standing up and taking action, you take ownership and you stand for who you are and what you want in life. And that's taking responsibility, right? Especially for yourself, making sure you get your needs met and you feel happy and valued. And Camelot, the first card, also asks you what it is that you want to be and what you wish to create that has a higher purpose. But I don't think you will know or get to that point. You first have to work through this relationship stuff, that someone there or something maybe even that's holding you back. Doesn't have to be made for some may know, some of you may know. And then there is the crystal cave, and that makes me feel that there is truly something you wish to do, possibly something you want to do by yourself. Is really your own thing, your baby. And that ties in with this card that says that maybe you need some assistance. And that could be financial, depending on what it is that you wish to create, of course. But it could also be concerning other aspects, help with that, support with that. And if that's the case, that you are going to or busy with creating your baby, your real thing, but you still need help, then it's very important that you take ownership of your creation, right? Because it's yours, it's your baby. So you can allow help and support, but you mustn't give away the responsibility for the creation, the ownership of the creation. You still it must remain yours, if that makes sense. And let's see the next card. I see if this one hang about. Right, your last 2 cards, we have Willow Spirit and the Temple of Dreams. Isn't that last one a beautiful card? Well, they both are actually, but that last one just gets me going. Anyhow, the Willow Spirit is really typical because I had no idea it was in this set, this card, and I used Willow as an example for set 1, and now it comes up here. So maybe you felt drawn to that set as well, or it doesn't matter really. It makes me feel that you want and should break free. I mean, look at that fairy on the card, right? Don't let yourself be held back anymore, not even by yourself. It can also be that you do that yourself. You need to spread your wings and fly. And that doesn't mean you have to be rigid in your way of going about it. For instance, if someone is holding you back, or if you suddenly want to break free and do something different and do something for yourself, take time for yourself or travel by yourself, whatever it is, and you have, for instance, a partner in life, it can be that they completely, totally freak out and panic. It can also be with a friend. If you, for instance, feel like, okay, this friendship is wonderful, is great, but I cannot get this aspect I need fulfilled with that person. So you find a new friend, that the old friend, so to speak, may panic and think they're going to lose you as a friend. And that was not your idea at all, right? And so be gentle and communicate to make people, if you notice that people are panicking and in their panic are unwilling to let you fly because they fear losing you, then communicate, right? And be clear, be open to smooth out, iron out the situation, if that is possible. It's not always possible, but if you're gentle, then chances are it will work out. But it also means you have to be gentle with yourself. Believe in yourself and do it, yes, but be gentle and loving and not too demanding of yourself, right? Like, give yourself permission to fly, but also give yourself permission to learn to fly. Like a bird doesn't do that in one go either, really. Well, okay, they don't fall down flat on their face, I suppose, but well, you know what I mean, right? Be gentle with yourself too. And the last card, the Temple of Dreams, sacred dreams, prophecies, dream journeys, is really wonderful what that is about. It's basically saying that spirit is and energy beings, etc., are giving you messages via dreams. So maybe you are one of these people that you dream a lot, remember your dreams, and that you, if that's the case, that you've been thinking that these dreams, well, yeah, okay, just dreams, right, and not real, but they are real, they are messages. So if you indeed dream and remember them, pay attention to them, and because there are messages in there for you, and it helps if that's the case, if you dream and wake up after a dream, and it helps to then have a journal next to your bed with a pen, so you can very briefly write it down, some keywords or phrases, short phrases, because often when you fall back you go back to sleep and you wake up in the morning, you can't for the love of God remember the dream anymore. But if you have these keywords and phrases, it will come back. Speaking from experience here. And then there's a last message, kind of an affirmation or thingy with this card. The visions I receive are texts my soul has taken from the libraries of the hidden worlds. So it can also be in visualizations. If you think like, I don't dream, I never recall any dream or whatever, then maybe it's when you sit and meditate, or when you have visions, when you get insights all of a sudden, right? Insights are also messages from the divine, from your higher self. Then these are also important. That's also what this card is about. Yeah, so and I actually feel this is also about fulfilling your dreams, the thing that you wish to create, that you really long for to have or be or do, right? So this is what I have for you. I do hope it resonates, and thank you for watching, and I'll see you again next time. Bye. Number 3, if you chose this pyramid crystal, your first 2 cards that we have here, we have Nimue and Rhiannon. It is time for you with this card to start creating what you want to create. You have learned enough, practiced enough, and you know enough, and you are ready to venture out on your own and get out from under the wings of the ones that have helped you and taught you. And these people, they might find it difficult to let you go, but don't let that stop you, because it is really time to shake off the yoke that isn't really yours to carry anyway. You have to be like Rhiannon. Rhiannon is a free spirit and doing her own thing. She's fiery and confident and empowered, and she wasn't understood or believed when it mattered, but that did not. She did not allow that to change her. And that is something you have to embrace as well and accept, learn to be okay with. It's not your path in life to convince other people of what you are doing and that that is the right thing for you, right? So you have to be ready to receive resistance or misunderstanding, but then at the same time not let that deter you and not get into arguments and conflict about it either, right? That's not, you are on a special path that's unique to you, and it's okay that not everyone understands that. So you have to be okay with that fact as well, that not everyone will get that, right? And that may often especially come from people who love you, because they are the ones who want the best for you, want to protect you, want to keep you safe. But with that, they often basically clip your wings as well in their loving concern, right? But the thing is, you do not need their protection because you're ready. You can do it yourself. You need them to let you roam free. So in that sense, it's better if people would support you, but you can't force that either, right? And if there is any envy, then don't get involved with that. Just follow your own course, your dreams, your goals, and eventually the ones that really matter to you will come to understand and support you. Now we move to the next cards. Right, the first card, fertility, creation, risk versus safety. This one is, the message is very similar to this message from Nimue. Again, the message that it's time to create what you wish for. But with that, you will also have to learn and feel, especially that feel, when it is time to bring your creation into the world, into the open. And Nimue's message spoke of that as well. There was a part of divine timing, working with divine timing, with the message of that card, meaning it is really time for you to go for it, to no longer procrastinate, but you have to also develop your intuition so you know when and where and how to let your creation go into the world. And bear in mind that this creation that I'm speaking of can be tangible, but it can also be an intangible thing. And it will vary. It's not a personal reading, right? Right, so to the next card. Yeah, this card. Nurturance, self-care, and imagine, allow. It is really important that you take good care of yourself on all levels. And you can create all the care and nurturing you need yourself. If you have doubts about that, or that you think you can't do that, give that to yourself, then you can create it yourself, and you are never alone. It's also good to know that. Let's stick that one in with the Tree of Souls. You are connected to a group of souls, so you're never alone. And it's then probably more energetic connections, but these are very important too, right? And you can see it like that tree, the Tree of Souls. The lights representing a whole lot of souls, all these lights, all different souls. And yours is one of these souls. And whatever you do will feed that tree. So with that, the other souls, right? And so will what the other souls do will also feed that tree and you as well, because you're part of that. So when you create what you want, begin living your desire and become your own master, you will also help others like they help you with what they are doing. There's always support. You're part of something. You're not alone. And this card, I think I have to flip that over because of the glare. It's such a pretty card. I love it. It's absolutely beautiful. These lights here, it's almost like that tree is here again in the back. Anyhow, this is a message about change and transitions, and again that you have to go for it. It's a voyage of the heart and soul. It can be spiritual or physical in nature, this voyage, but in either case it's a very important journey. So don't fear it, because as you saw with that tree, you are supported. You're not alone. And the message with this card that I love so much is that a great ship can stay safe in the harbor, but that's not what great ships are made for, right? And remember that. And it's time for you to unfurl the sails and set course for open seas. It's time to get out in the open and to claim your power, to be in your power. And the journey depicted here by going into the stone circle will get you exactly where you should be. The place where you will feel happy and fulfilled, and where your further growth is supported and possible. Right? So that's the message I have for you. And I do hope it resonates, and that it's going to be helpful. And I thank you for watching, and I will see you again really soon with another reading. Bye.